Second gear is nice. Yeah, I think they've improved this. Or maybe it's exactly the same. Or maybe it's worse, but my first street twin. Hey everybody, it's Dick here. I just dropped the Street Cup off at Triumph West London's new location. I was late for my appointment because I didn't realize how much further away they were from the old place. So the argument of buying a motorcycle 2 hours away for Fanny is kind of moot now because it's about an hour for the Triumph service, as opposed to in half an hour from where I originally bought it. The side stand hanger bolt has broken off of an oddly chosen threaded part of the frame. The hanger bolt that the spring to the side stand mount is threaded into the frame rail on the brake side. Brake side? No, on the clutch side. The guys at Triumph have agreed to replace it on a warranty claim. It happened about 6 days before my warranty was due to expire, and that was about a month and a half ago, trying to arrange things to get it to be seen, because I have been unable to get it down to them. Plus they've had a bit of a waiting list as well because of coming out of COVID. Everyone's got the bike service, so it hasn't taken as long as it has because of them. It's taken as long as it has because of me, so I'm not complaining. They've been very accommodating with me rearranging. However, I am now on a loaner bike, and I was given this Street Twin. Now, what's funny is the Street Cup, the Street Scrambler, and the Street Twin are all based off the Street Twin, and I've made some changes to the Street Cup to make it more in line with the Street Twin. I've actually put Street Twin bars on it, and I have a Street Twin seat that I can swap out when I want to go 2 up. I've put a high exhaust a la Scrambler on it, and I thought to myself, oh, it's just the same bike. It's a Street Twin with whatever. But being on this Street Twin at the moment, I am very, very, very surprised to find that this bike is very different. It's very different to the Street Cup. It's very different to the Street Scrambler. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Where the hell am I going? I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how different it is to the rest of the line, because I thought it was just a bit vanilla when that was a cool Cub. When they use the same foundation to aesthetically change a bike. So not only, even though I'm running the handlebars, the geometry is different. I'm a bit more relaxed in the leg. The fit and finish, the kind of high-end fit and finish that's on the Street Cup, is more industrial and raw and usable on the Street Twin. It has, I think that's the same display, non-adjustable, as the Street Scrambler, though it may be a little different because I know the Street Scrambler has oh, I was going to say it has some modes, but I see a mode button here. Rain, road, off-road on Scrambler, and you can switch off the rear ABS, I believe, which is quite fun. I don't know if you hear that. I'm pretty sure this is stock exhaust, but it has a great sound to it. A great sound to it. I thought it was aftermarket exhaust, but I couldn't tell you. I don't think it is, looking at it. I really like these very simple matte black round side view mirrors, and I was just looking, I paused because just looking to see if they were clamped by themselves, and they're not. They're clamped to the brake and clutch levers, because I was going to say I want to put those on the Street Cup, because I hate my Street Cup mirrors. I really want these. These are awesome. I wonder if I could figure that out some way. I'm a little spun around here. Tell you, it's got a nice pep to it. I don't know what year this is. I wonder if this is the upgraded 5 gears. I wonder if this is the upgraded engine. I gotta find out what year this is when I return it. Because when I first tried the upgraded engine on the Street Scrambler, I was not impressed, but I am having a, look at that, I'm having a good, grand old time on this so far. Still a bit lackluster in the engine braking, still a bit vanilla in the engine braking. You can't really kind of come off on it. I'm gonna get on the M25 just to see how this thing, I've toured on the Street Cup. Maybe ill-advised, but I've toured on the Street Cup, done about 3,000-mile ride on the Street Cup to Scotland in the winter. And it has a little bit of a kind of a sport fairing just above the headlamp. This headlamp is a bigger bucket too, I think. Wow, this is really quite good. You know, they sell the Street Twin as an entry-level bike, and I think, oh, I'm getting some nice vibes on my balls right now. Sorry, I'm interrupted by these ball vibes. Serious vibrations, third gear, 60 miles an hour, no tachometer like on my Street Cup, so I'm thinking maybe 5,000 RPM-ish, but very vibey, just in my testicles. Nothing in the hands, a little bit in the hands when you get up to 6,000 RPMs, I guess. I'm in fourth gear, 60 miles an hour. Yeah, I think this is the upgraded engine because I'm a bit faster in fourth gear than I will be on the Street Cup. I do like the tuning on the Street Cup and the pre-19 or maybe pre-21 if I'm talking T100. I did like the tuning before pre-19, but I think they might have changed it a little bit for 21. They did it for 19 on the Street Twin and the Street Scrambler, and they discontinued the Street Cup. And then they also said they did an upgrade. I don't know if it's the same upgrade that they were announcing in 21 or if it's another upgrade, but they changed, I think, they changed the crank, or I forget what they changed, but they changed something to get about 10 more horsepower. And when I first tried it, it was a bit blech. But on this, I'm in 70, wow, yeah, they've done a good job here. 70 miles an hour, fourth gear. I'm probably around 6,000 RPM. Not too vibey. I still have more in fourth gear. 8 miles an hour in fourth gear. Yeah, they've done a great job in giving a little more oomph and letting you rev this thing out a little bit. I'm really quite smitten with this Street Twin. Fifth gear, dropping at 8 miles an hour, and I've probably dropped down to about 4,500 RPM if I'm guessing. But you got a lot more, I mean, that's optimistic, 130 miles an hour, but you can probably get to 100 on this where you were struggling in fifth gear on the old version. So, maybe they did do something right with that seemingly innocuous change for 10 horses. I don't care about the horses. What I care about are the revs. And look at that. I'm at 80, and if I was at 80 on the old tune, I would be right about flat out. And I got that little bump there still, a little bump of torque, just above 5,000 RPMs, which is really awesome. The fat headlamp and this display is doing about the same job as the little sport windshield on the Street Cup. I don't know, I feel a little less crunch than on the Street Cup too. I don't know if the foot pegs are a little further forward. And they're rubber mounted. The Street Cupper is just these aluminum sculpture-y jobs that they put on the T100. The Street Cup is definitely a handsomer bike. It's more handsome. It's more attractive. It's more in line of that T100 Thruxton bit of jewelry. Not that mine looks any more like mine looks like a bit of jewelry that's been left in the bottom of the drawer for a while, because I don't polish my bikes. But this has a kind of springy, classic-y gumdrop indicators. There's no chrome. Everything's brushed if it's not painted black. So it's not as pretty as the Street Cup, and it's not as chunky as the Scrambler. But as a bike, as a motorcycle, they've done a fantastic job. I mean, the tank is more like that Trident tank that I tried. When I said, wow, the Trident tank is really narrow in the knee, and you kind of have to pinch your knees in even more. Like on the Street Cup, I don't have to really do a lot to press my thighs against that tank. Where on this one, it really tapers back. And I wonder if that lends to that ball tingle I have at around 5,000, 6,000 RPM. But it is comfortable. It's a comfortable bike, and I can see this as a everyday bike. I can see this as I could spend a couple hours on this bike. The seat is a bit flat. I want to get a softer seat or a thicker seat because it's going longer on it. It's not one of these cafe queens where you park up and everyone oogles over it. Though, if you're riding to work on it, or you're going on a weekend ride, or you're going on an overnight trip somewhere, you will turn a head or two, especially if they hear you coming by. Because I really like the sound, the note of these twin exhausts off the back of it. It's narrow and it's low, so it's very accessible. It's an accessible motorcycle. They say it's an entry-level bike in their line, and essentially when they say entry-level, it's just the lowest displacement. And I'm in fifth gear, cruising at 90. Holy shit! Slow down. I did not know this bike could do 90. And I just was coming up to a speed camera. If I gun it around something on the Street Cup, I'm going 70. So this thing just popped to 90 with a twist of the wrist. That was surprising. That was surprising. Oh my God, that caught me out. That caught me out. I was very surprised. Fifth gear is now a very usable highway gear here. I haven't been searching for sixth in at all. Look at that. A little bit sluggish there, but still. It'll do it. It'll do the ton. But it'll do it. It kind of does. It was kind of doing around 90 what the old tune would do around 80. That you lose the torque, you lose that high spin. You're searching. You're kind of just coaxing it. But when you're going that fast, first of all, you're going too fast. But secondly, you know, that's a decent top speed for this bike. I was gonna say for this style of bike, or for this. That's a decent top speed for any bike, I think. You know, a road bike, unless you're riding a crotch rocket or, you know, riding too fast. But wow, you can snap to there. You can snap to top speed and have torque at the wrist. So, you know, torque on demand is what was lacking and why I said it needed a sixth gear. So it's a bit fatiguing on the highway. I am adjusting my seating position a bit premature as other bikes. I am readjusting my seating position and I'm looking for a different spot to hang my feet. I don't notice any vibes in my feet, but the arches of my feet feel a bit sore. So maybe there's a slight vibration that's kind of coming up through my foot. Not upsettingly so. Uh-oh. Fuel gauge is on. Well, the fuel gauge gives me an excuse to get off the highway. The seat's long, so I can. I say the seat's long, but they've put a dash of a pillion rise back there, so I can't slide all the as far back as I can on the aftermarket bench seat that I got for the Street Cup. So there is a little bit of a rise for a pillion on the back of this seat. It means the operator's seat is, there's enough room. It's enough room for my fat ass, but it's not as long as your bench seat that you kind of imagine this is. I didn't look very closely thinking that it was a pillion rise. I'm sitting at 60, fifth gear, probably 4,000 RPM. That vibe in the ass is still there. 70 in an instant with the twist. So that's decent. You know, I can ride on the highway. Would I want to ride this on the highway for a long distance? No. Would this bike give me an excuse to take smaller roads on a longer trip? Yes. Is it kind of a roadstery back road ride? Yes. So yeah, if you need to do a bit of highway on a commute, it'll do the speed. You might want a windshield. The wind isn't bothersome. It's not bothersome. But it is, I am feeling like it's collectively fatiguing me. It's an aggregate. I'm getting multiples of minor fatigue, and that's building up to a fatigue where I'm a lot more tired on this at the moment than I thought I should be for the length of time I've been on the highway. And I took the same route down to the shop, so I wasn't that fatigued on the Street Cup, which is interesting enough, but I topped out at 70. I can push it to 80 the way I pushed this to 90. So I think, you know, you got about 10, they say 10 more horsepower. You got 10 miles, practically, you got 10 more miles per hour on the top end. But what I do like is how much more usable fourth and fifth gear in terms of torque is. And it really is stable on a nice sweeper like this. I mean, I feel really stable, and I'm just I'm on a rail here. It's on a rail. Oh, I just got a whack on that bump. So on that bump, the suspension was a little rough on that hit. But generally nice and soft. I'm kind of leaning into the wind here at 80. I think it's about 6,500 RPMs probably at 80 miles an hour. I'm leaning into the wind. I got a lot of wind on my arms, and my arms are kind of hanging onto the bars. There's a bit of resistance, not a bit, there's a fair amount of buffeting and resistance in my chest. The wind's going right over my helmet though. I don't feel a lot of wobbling around in the helmet. But definitely I'm pulling against the handlebars now to keep up with the bike and leaning into the... Oh, I know there's two bumps there, so I kind of pressed on the pegs to offload that, whacked my ass. So I think they say this is their entry-level bike, but I think it's just under 9 grand. 8 and a bit maybe, I'll have to check. So for a bike with traction control, rider mode, rain mode, ABS, I don't know, maybe that's the going rate. I rode Radar's Tracer 700, and I'll tell you, that was a more fun bike to ride. More comfortable to ride, especially on the fast stuff. Still a bit roadstery. You don't get the heritage styling that the Street Twin gives. So I don't, you know, I think for $1 grand less you can get the Tracer, or maybe even the XSR 700 if you want the heritage retro, neo-retro styling. Yeah, so I don't know if this is the best bike in the class in terms of value, but if you want a Triumph, it's not a bad one to buy. And I am, you know, I'm eating a bit of crow here in terms of this retune. I didn't notice it on the Scrambler. I actually thought it was a bit flat on the Scrambler. But on this version, they've done what they said they were going to do. It's still torquey, and you got about 10 more miles per hour at the top end in fifth gear. And what's funny is, I'm in fourth gear now, and in fourth gear, this bike is familiar, obviously, because of the Street Cup, but so I dropped into fourth gear to go to that 50 mile an hour zone drop. And I actually was going too fast in fourth gear at 50. So I have to relearn or reteach myself what gear to be in at 50 miles an hour. And you're kind of, it's one of these bikes now where you feel like you're going too slow when you're going too fast, if that makes sense. So they've done an all right job on that tune. I don't know. I still don't know. Look at these guys. I still don't know if it's worth the hubbub that they did for the announcement. But this is a better bike than I expected. This is a better bike than I thought it was. And I'm actually quite pleased that this was the lottery pick that I got for my Lucky Dip loaner bike.
If you like that video and you want to see more like them, hit like, share, and subscribe.